Hi guys, it's Gracie, and for our last video of the year, we are going to share about our annual Yuletide tradition. And while I'm definitely going to show you what I'm working on and what Des is working on, let's go find our DM. Hey DM!
Oh, hello.
We are sharing with our friends about our Yuletide tradition. And so, what are you doing the night before the Yuletide campaign?
Getting ready to do a Yuletide one-shot. We do a loose campaign over a series of years, running a Yuletide adventure one-shot every New Year's Eve. We play pretty long. I think last year was
like 12 hours.
Yeah, pretty much noon to midnight. This year will probably be pretty close to that. Just finishing up the final touches.
So, what inspired you for this year's one-shot?
We like to have a big kind of to-do as the final battle with a neat board. Last year's was an ice cave with a dragon erupting out of the ground and stalactites falling from the ceiling, and it was really well done, and I like that. Just simple this year, so I was racking my brain to try and come up with something to do, and I had an idea, and I decided I really didn't want to do this as this year's thing anyways. So I kind of ruminated on it for a little while. Time was starting to get short, and I kind of had this other vision in my head. Normally I don't like to go from an encounter design and work backwards to create an adventure from that, but the way the Yuletide stuff works, especially if you want kind of a big centerpiece, it kind of helps to do that kind of thing. You're heading to, I don't like to railroad players usually in an adventure, but when you're doing one shot, you kind of have to do that, so you kind of take the bait and go towards the final fight, or they don't. This year we decided we'd do a mirror maze. Just seemed kind of cool. The idea was, well, maybe it's a giant broken tree ornament, and how would that work, and how would we set that up? And that kind of fed into, well, maybe the characters have been shrunk and they're on a Yule tree and they're making their way to the top. Well, if that's the case, then what other encounters can we have on the Yule tree? What else would be on there? And we would take some liberties in kind of what could not fit on a pine tree with ornaments. But that kind of spoke to some of the other encounters. In order to finish out we decided to make it a mirror maze from a broken ornament. You need to find the key in the maze and get to the doors. Well, maybe every encounter on the tree is a enclosed sort of a trap where you have a door that you have to unlock with a special magical key, and you've got to find it either by fighting or through some sort of puzzly aspect.
Which will be lots of fun.
Mm-hmm.
What do you work on versus what do you task out to your elves?
We like to do a lot of 3D prints. These are some that will probably show up in our game tomorrow. So I do all the printing. I don't do any of the painting. I do very little painting these days. It's a little harder for me. My eyes are going a little bit. Plus my amazing crew is so much better at it than I am. So they do the painting, I print out the figures, I come up with the adventure, I write the designs and stats, and all that stuff, because I'll be the gamekeeper for the adventure, and I'll be running everything. So I do all of the behind the scenes paperwork stuff for the stuff. I design most of the maps for the encounters. So this one will have for instance, a manor house at the beginning. We'll have a dollhouse that the characters will be shrunken down into, and we'll have a workshop that is also kind of similar to the other two. Those will just come out as, this is a work in progress, but maps. And I'll draw those out because those will be a little bit simpler. We'll spruce it up because with a little bit of 3D printed furniture and stuff that we have, but these will be kind of fairly plain. We have a few more centerpiece encounters. The mirror maze is one example. We'll have it'll be sort of a beach where nutcrackers are assaulting a castle. We have
the final encounter.
The final encounter, which is going to be in a present, and those, because I'm not quite as good with my hands. With the creative side will be done also by my great crew. Will either design and or build those encounter maps.
Awesome. Any tips to other people running a annual Yuletide campaign before we head out?
This will be technically the third year we've done this, and especially when you're designing a one-off adventure yourself, you need to understand how many players you have and how much time you have in which to play. And you need to have a good idea of how long each encounter is going to take. So if you've only got 6 hours, if you've got 4 players, depending on your group, you maybe have enough time for 6 encounters, and that includes role-playing encounters as well as combat encounters. I'll have closer to somewhere between 10 and 12 tomorrow, but I have 6 players, so combat encounter is going to be effectively twice as long as what you would do with a 4-player group. The plan for this is 8 encounters. I probably have time to fit that in. If I don't, I know which encounters I want to take out, and I have made sure I place them in a spot in the adventure so that if they get taken out, it won't feel weird. I have a couple of puzzly encounters that I can add in if I need to expand it out. Preferably, we'd like to end close to midnight to kind of wrap everything up for New Year's. But that's my first bit of advice, is just kind of have an idea of how much time, because this isn't a campaign in a sense of we'll be playing another adventure right after this. We've got this one day to play this year. Next year is going to be an entirely different adventure, but it's going to be kind of based off of some of the stuff that happens this year. In a campaign, I can expand stuff out. If we want to take a whole session shopping or say a beach day, do that. I don't have room for that. It's got to be kind of, one, you've got to keep your players moving, and two, you've got to have an idea when you're planning everything how long that's going to take.
Absolutely. And what's nice is, for those of us who have played in prior campaigns, there are tie-throughs, but we have a new player this year, and they're not going to really miss out on anything because they weren't here last year.
I'll give a bit of background of kind of where everybody is, and some of that will be the same as last year, and kind of what happened last year to lead the characters to sort of going into this. But even in the campaign itself is a year apart, so it can't be a continuation of what happened last year. So for our campaign, the characters will have leveled up as well, so they'll be moving from level 3 to level 5 this year. And the plan is every year to do this to level 2 levels, because that's important.
Which reminds me, I have to put mine together. All right, we'll get back to work.
Sure.
So, as Scott mentioned, we work on kind of the crafty side of things. It's definitely interesting. We don't get to know the whole plot or anything, but we get to know enough so that we can hopefully add some ideas and help him be creative. And so some of the set pieces he talked about is the tree topper with the box, which looks like this.
So the idea with this is we'll set the present on the table, and then we'll do the big reveal, like so. And so this will be the final map. I did use a Christmas box that we bought from Walmart, and then Drew covered it with wrapping paper so it's a little more festive, and drew a grid on it. And then this, from what I understand, is going to cast stuff out of here so it can turn. And then these are on so we can hide behind it. So that is our final terrain. And then the ornament that is going to hang and eventually shatter. This is the setup we have for that. So this is the ornament before it shatters. It's being hung between these two Christmas trees, which, that might be glued in there. Des did that part. But it's just a Sprecher bottle wrapped in like evergreen garland. And then I'm cheap. So you may be looking at this going, oh my God, how expensive. Literally, I shop for leftover Christmas decorations once Christmas has passed. So I think for like decorations, including the Christmas box and all of this, I probably spent like $25. And I have excess. So like I got a bunch of these little twinkle lights, which I'll try to save again for next year. And these ornaments. This turns on too, I think. I don't remember. Des got it to turn on. Anyways, so yeah. And then like if you want to go even like cheaper, I shopped Walmart, but like going to the Dollar Tree would make that even more financially responsible. And then I of course try to save whatever I can. Our showcase last year with the like icicles and whatnot, I used so much hot glue on that that it was pretty much once we were done with it, it had to go. But these and whatnot, I'll be able to like cut off and save.
Lastly, like those are fairly complete, but I am working on a castle that is the backdrop for those nutcrackers that are storming the castle, and so it is not done. So aside from working on my character and leveling her up, I will be working on that. When it comes to the night before, some of the stuff we've been working on for a while, but there's definitely like a balance between good enough is good enough. We invest a fair amount of time and effort into like a few show pieces, but if there's paint on things, that's considered a win. Des is our speed miniature painter. I also will do miniature painting, but he's far better and far quicker than I am. And so he has close to 50 figures that Scott would like painted. So he's going to prioritize the most important ones, and he's gotten quite a few done already. And then kind of go down the priority list. Hopefully everybody gets a little paint on them, but you know what? This is for fun. It's not our day jobs. So yeah, that is what we do. Now, let's go to the kitchen. All right. While we always provide food and drinks for our players, it is New Year's Eve, and New Year's Eve calls for special spirits. So we have made 2 special cocktails. This one is like a lemonade vodka, but we're going to call it a Briss Whistle Lemon Bomb, I am pretty sure. Lemon drop. And then we have this one, which is a apple cider based one that I don't remember the name off the top of my head, but it will be good nonetheless. We have taste tested them and we would drink them. So hopefully our players don't think they're poison. So I'll put the ingredients on how we made these on the screen. And otherwise, Happy New Year's, guys. May your 2024 be magical.